Good morning. Tonight we're going to talk about Four Lost Cities by Annalee Newitz. And she asks, how does one lose a city? Well, in the case of Pompeii, you know exactly how you lose it. Catastrophically. Because Etna decided it was time to blow up. Santorini. And that one blew up too. I mean, is earthquake city and volcanoes and so on. Yes, they will happen. It's how it is. Earthquakes, so on. But this is a tale about the history of urbanization. And it's, she picks out 4 places. Angkor Wat, of course. Catal, there in Turkey. Pompeii in Italy. Surprisingly enough, Cahokia, up there in the north of the United States, in Mississippi. Also a place where interesting things happened. Well. Fortunately, nothing in South America. Odd. Since I don't think anyone built better than the Inca, considering how earthquake and volcanic that area is, you would expect some rather serious disruption of the earth to occur. You know? Just saying that it is that way there. Oh, my. You know how it is, right? Peru is one of the most volcanic places around. Unfortunately, as interesting as it is, it's difficult to say this. One would wish that archaeologists and historians could refrain, but they can't. They have to interpolate their 21st century sensibilities into cultures that wouldn't know what the hell they were talking about. Huh? What? For example, the Romans. Admittedly, not the sweetest people on earth. Not that the Turks are particularly more magnanimous. However, before one speaks about how they treated other people, one might want to take a look first. In this instance, she was talking about the pavement of roads. Now, in front of the rich man's house, it was paved with stone. Curbs, all very nice. Crosswalks in Pompeii, which meant, blocks. So you could step stone over the filth that was actually running down the street. And the block stepping stones not only were within reasonable pacing, so humans had an easy time of walking across and keeping their feet dry, but the carts, which were only allowed in when there weren't many pedestrians, the carts had their wheels go neatly between the crosswalk blocks. Yes, they paid attention to such details. Now, that was in front of the rich people's houses, because paving costs money. Naturally enough. And then, of course, filled with her democratic ardor, she goes behind the rich man's house because, city blocks. So there's naturally other streets further back from the main drag. Now, those streets were paved with cinders, packed earth with cinders on top, like gravel. They put a little tar down and they put gravel everywhere. Right? It's not concrete, but keeps you out of the mud. Neater, tidier, Okay? This shows you how much they cared about the lower classes and all this stuff. Unfortunately, darling, you seem to have forgotten one little rule. And yes, this was a constant sort of thing. If you were the property owner, you were responsible for the paving in front of your house, in front of your property. You built it, you maintained it, and you repaired it. Or you paid to have it done. Okay? So, the middle class person has bought his place. It was his responsibility to do the road. And he himself may have decided that since he could not afford pavement, along with maintenance and upkeep and repair, he'll just put the cinders, which costs less, does the same job, and is easier to upkeep and repair. So stop automatically blame the rich, blame the upper class, but it's like automatic. It's an automatic response. Then she goes to Cahokia, and she asks the people there. Not that we know anything, about their intimate lives and how it works. And she's looking for money. Who pays the farmers to bring the food? Who does this? Who does that? There's got to be some sort of exchange. There has to be some economic loss and gain here. Why? There wasn't one in Catal. Everybody just operated within the family. And within the family, are you talking, capitalism? Not within the family, you don't. I mean, mercantilism was Rome. I mean, they're the ones with the international exchange of monies, coinage, things of this nature. How much you paid for this, that, the other. I mean, they even have takeout menus. From Pompeii, you have a complete catalog. But must you conflate the thinking from one time to another, from one culture to another? Why? Virtue signaling? I don't think that's quite correct, because then you're obscuring what's there to be seen. Furthermore, you yourself in your own book complained of people having this idea in their head, and then they go, and then because of bias, they see what they want to see, or they expect to see, because of the images they have already taken in the head, like, fabled city of Xanadu, or what have you. It's pretty amazing. She is guilty of the same thing she's complaining that other archaeologists used to do. And she just turns right around and does it again. And it's nice that the other book about 1177 BC, the fall of the Bronze Age, the man absolutely stopped himself cold from doing that. Just put the brakes on. We're not gonna go there. But I'm afraid Annalee Newitz does not. So it is a good book. You'll learn something about her 4 cities. Angkor Wat is fascinating. How they managed to screw it up. And she never mentions the fact that Angkor Wat is similar to Teotihuacan, which I'm doubtly not pronouncing correctly, but you know how it is. But they did the same thing, the control of water. Or lack thereof, because in the end, there was just too much water in Cambodia. You gotta work with what you got. So, I would recommend that you read a different book than Annalee Newitz's, unless you enjoy watching a historian kind of, step in it. And you can't tell me that Pompeii and the Roman Empire has not been extensively studied. Now, Catal, maybe not. Angkor Wat, a little more. Cahokia, nobody knows. just don't know. That's all there is to it. But everybody knows anything about Pompeii. Yes, there are brothels. It was the sin city of its day. Herculaneum, now, which was also destroyed. Now, that was the intellectual. That was the upper class. That was the, we might have orgies, but we ain't telling anybody about it, and we're certainly not doing graffiti on the walls. I mean, that's so infra darling. No. Herculaneum's different. Pompeii, whatever went. Well. Fortunately, we have all the information we need about them. And yes, they had different attitudes toward things you'd all go, about. Lots of cultures did. Like, they have totally different attitudes. Some people were saying, oh my word, Catal was so clean. No, it wasn't. What do you think those houses were built on? I mean, she details it. Yeah, the garbage, the excrement, the urine, the old furniture that you didn't want anymore. You threw it into the house and you burn it. You burnt the whole thing down, or you abandoned it once a month. Pack it all nice and down. Put fresh clay on top of it and pack that all down. Cover it with plaster. And bury people under your bed. I swear, it looks all nice and white. Very clean, tidy, very Marie Kondo minimalism. Yes, very clean. Until you dig up the ancestors in that raised bed of clay you have that you're sleeping on top of. Okay, well, and then you traded back and forth with your neighbors of specially decorated human skulls. Okay. Not what I would choose, but if that's what they did, that's what they did, for reasons of their own, no doubt. But that was their idea of cleanliness. Okay. they're learning how to live in a community, I guess, on top of each other. Humans. We're weird, okay? Anyway, this book, if you want to be introduced to certain concepts, how to live together, the fact that the Romans were all about we live in the street, and the people of Catal who live only from the house, and then the people, the Khmer, who only live in the temples. Yeah. You know, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. When in Angkor Wat, do what the Khmer do, because it's the only way you can live there. Until you can't. And that's why they're called lost cities, because eventually, he just left. People left. They went there. It had its life for however long it had its life. And then people started flaking off. Emigrating away. Returning to where they came from. And going different places. What have you. Societies change over time. Cities change over time. It's just how it is. Still, not to be recommended if you're serious about your archaeology and your anthropology, because that's not what you're going to get. You're going to get a somewhat flavored account. Because naturally, if you have any sort of tokens, you're going to be a capitalist, right? Not always the case. In any case, I hope this helps. I have to get back to the murder mysteries soon. Thank you for watching. And please do come again.